Hi, my name is Carolyn. I'd like to introduce you to my dog Maggie, a Boxer Lab mix. Maggie came to live with me in the winter of 2011. She was an internet adoption. Don't have a lot of history on her. She was about 2.5 years old when she was first adopted. Actually, she went to another home first, and then I was looking for a second dog, and this home just didn't have time, and she spent too much time in the crate, and she needed to get out and get some exercise, and I said, well, let's try it. And within a week or two, she had chewed up some wood, and I knew she was going to stay. Maggie's an interesting dog. I've had a couple of dogs over my life, and she seems to be the most animated. She's very friendly, very outgoing, but at times she'll stand back a little and just watch the action, kind of oversee, and then she'll jump in. She seems a little spooked sometimes, and then other times she seems very brave, and I wonder sometimes if there's some sort of conflict going on between the lab part of her brain and the boxer part of her brain, and overall figuring as a dog, her brain's not that big anyway, so I don't think she has a lot of room to maneuver, but she's a very sweet dog. Maggie's a really interesting dog. She's got some unique talents I haven't seen before. Whenever anyone tells me they're getting a dog, I say, well, you'll become a much better housekeeper. And Maggie's been a big help to me as far as picking up my slippers and moving them under the dining room table, or taking any laundry that might be on the floor and secreting it into a corner so that if company drops by, they won't find it. I won't find it either, but you know, we learn to adapt. She's very concerned that I get enough sleep at night. I like to sew late in the evenings, and if it's past 10 o'clock, Maggie will stare at me and stare and whine a little and be very concerned that we're up too late and it's time for us to go to bed. So Maggie's quite concerned about my health and just my housekeeping skills. Most dogs will let you know when they need to go out, or it's time to get up, or it's time to feed me. Maggie has a commentary throughout the day, and it might start out as a whine, but then it becomes sort of a grunt and a sigh. And it's not always clear what it is that she's discussing with me, and I really try to understand, and only Maggie knows, but she's always got something to say. She's a little bit of a comedian, and sometimes I wonder if she knows exactly what she's up against, but she has this uncanny ability to know if there's an animal in the yard or anything in the yard. And I came in one day from the yard, and she had actually popped out the screens in casement windows on the second floor of the house and was kind of hanging in the window seat. I don't know if she knew not to jump, or she just couldn't get a good enough footing to get out, but it was probably a 30-foot drop. So she sees something, and boy, she puts a beat on it, and she's wild. It's interesting with a lot of mixed breeds, you take a guess at what makes up the dog. With Maggie, it's pretty clear that she's got a very strong lab influence and a very strong boxer influence, just by the look of her face, her ears, her body, her tail. I think sometimes, though, the lab part of the brain and the boxer part of the brain kind of cross wires, because she's very much interested in grabbing things with her front paws, whether it's a toy or another dog or my leg. But the lab part of her, I think, is what gives her the more people side. More people-friendly side. So, but there are times too where she just sort of walks around and looks around and whines and chirps, and we just don't know what she's thinking. I've had a number of dogs over the years, all rehomed or adoptions, and I have to say Maggie is the most unique dog that I've had. She is the most expressive. She is endearing in a way that you have to really put aside the damage to the house, the paint chips, having to replace rugs. But she does have a way of warming herself into your heart, and she is a good dog overall, but I would not tell her that because she may take advantage of me.